welcome to Zen Bohemian. I know I have been on a lot of a hiatus. I had to figure out and put things in place on how I was going to be more consistent on this channel, and those things are finally in place, and I do promise now I will be more consistent with the content coming onto this channel. So to kickstart our consistency journey on Zen Bohemian, I want to speak about something I've been meaning to speak about for a very long time. One of my favorite self-care practices, and that is Yoni Steaming. So Yoni Steaming, some of you might have already heard about Yoni Steaming. Some of you might not have any idea what Yoni Steaming is, but I feel like for most of you, you do have and have heard of Yoni Steaming. So we're going to speak about what Yoni Steaming is, the benefits of Yoni Steaming, and we're going to Yoni Steam together. So I'm going to show you how I personally Yoni Steam and what I do during the whole process of Yoni Steaming. So let's just get right into it. I have notes here because your girl is hella long-winded. Long-windedness is my middle name, and if I don't have guidance, I'm just going to go off tangent and we'll just be going on and on and on. So notes. So we'll start off by, what is Yoni Steaming? Yoni Steaming sometimes is called, I hope YouTube doesn't flag me, but it's sometimes called vaginal steaming. Yoni Steaming is an ancient practice that has been practiced and is found in many different continents in the world, including Africa, South and Central America, Asia. And Yoni Steaming is basically a practice where a woman squats over steaming water that has been steeped with herbs. Should I say herbs or herbs? I think I'll say I think I'll say herbs. I like to say herbs. Anyway, a woman squats over steaming water that has been steeped with some herbs like rosemary, calendula, lavender, motherwort, some of these nourishing herbs that are good for the female reproductive system. Yes, so that's what Yoni Steaming is. So different herbs have different benefits in Yoni Steaming. Yoni is a Sanskrit term that means sacred space. So Yoni could mean vagina, vulva, uterus. It basically connotes the female sexual organs. Yoni literally means sacred space, like I said, or womb, or source, origin, abode, basically just this sacred space of a woman. Yeah. Okay, so what are the benefits of Yoni Steaming? Yoni Steaming has a myriad of benefits, and I'm just going to read some of them and just maybe expand on a few of them. Number one, Yoni Steaming may promote fertility. This is dependent on what the cause of that infertility is. So for instance, for some people, for some women, they might be experiencing infertility as a result of uterine fibroids or endometriosis. It may help with fertility. It may promote fertility. Number two, Yoni Steaming assists with the healing of hemorrhoids. When you Yoni Steam, you are sitting or squatting over a steaming water that has been steeped in these nourishing herbs, and it's going up your yoni. The steam is going up your yoni. Because you're sitting over it with your yoni exposed to the steam, your anus also is exposed to that steam. And depending on what herbs are in the Yoni Steam, in the Yoni Steaming blend, that can also help with healing hemorrhoids on your anus. So that's number two. Number three, Yoni Steaming also relieves chronic yeast infections and UTIs. If you're one of those people who is constantly suffering from yeast infections for whatever reason, incorporating Yoni Steaming as this holistic treatment or alternative health treatment into your self-care is actually a good idea, and it might help with relieving yeast infections as well as UTIs. So just one caution here: if you actually have a UTI or yeast infection, it's best not to Yoni Steam at that point. You can Yoni Steam in between the recurring yeast infection. Number 4, Yoni steaming is good because it can also aid women with postpartum recovery by helping repair vaginal tissues, etc. If you've just given birth, incorporating Yoni steaming into your self-care as you recover from the whole ordeal of giving birth is very much recommended. It can help with healing you down there, healing your vagina, healing your uterus, and just like making sure everything goes back to normal before you had to carry a whole human being and birth a whole human being. So Yoni steaming is really good for postpartum recovery. Yoni steaming also helps with reducing painful periods. Again, some people experience really debilitating cramps, and incorporating Yoni steaming into your self-care is really good with just relieving those painful menstrual cramps. Yeah. Yoni steaming also helps heal from emotional and sexual trauma. Yoni steaming can lead to stronger and more frequent orgasms. Yoni steaming can increase libido and reignite sensual passion. How does it do these 3 things that I have mentioned? Basically, when you are Yoni steaming, you are intentionally connecting and catering to your Yoni. A lot of the time, for some women, especially if these are women who have grown up in purity culture or in very conservative religious circles, thinking about your Yoni, or even like catering and taking care of your Yoni in a way that you are intentional about and you know your Yoni, is very much cringe and not encouraged. It's actually very much discouraged. I know so because I grew up in the purity culture and I know exactly what I'm talking about. So we grow up feeling cringy about our Yoni, and even like touching ourselves is like, no, don't do that. So when you Yoni steam, you're intentionally connecting. You know what you're doing is sitting over some nourishing herbal steam, and you are squatting or sitting over that and letting it go up your Yoni. And it's just that connection and that intentionality with taking care of your Yoni in that way helps you heal. I was trying to say helps you heal. Yoni steaming is not just like a physical self-care practice. It can actually be a spiritual self-care practice even. Like it's a very deep practice that you can incorporate into your self-care routine. Yeah, so when not to steam. Number 1, do not steam if you are pregnant or you suspect that you are pregnant. When you Yoni steam, it can cause contractions of your uterus, and depending on how far along you are in your pregnancy, you might miscarry. So you don't want to be doing that. If you're pregnant or you suspect you're pregnant, please do not Yoni steam. Yes. 2, do not Yoni steam if you have an IUD, an intrauterine device. Whether you have the Paragard, which is the non-hormonal IUD, or you have the hormonal one, I've forgotten what it's called. Do not Yoni steam if you have that, for the exact same reason you should not Yoni steam if you're pregnant, because the IUD is placed into your uterus, and Yoni steaming can cause contractions of the uterus, and it can just cause complications with the IUD in you, and you don't want to have any of that drama. So if you have an IUD, please stay away from Yoni steaming. Number 3, do not Yoni steam when you are menstruating. If you are bleeding, your Yoni is already expelling linings of uteruses, blood, and all that kind of stuff. You do not need to be Yoni steaming and just stressing her out. Leave her alone. Do not Yoni steam when you are menstruating. 4, do not Yoni steam during ovulation if you are trying to conceive. The best time to Yoni steam if you're trying to use Yoni steaming to improve your fertility is pre-ovulation. Before you're ovulating is when you can Yoni steam. And also the Yoni steaming doesn't need to be overdone. I personally Yoni steam for like 10 to 20 minutes, 15 minutes most of the time, because 10 to 20 minutes is a good amount of time for you to Yoni steam. You don't need to be sitting over the steam for 1 hour. Yeah, you also don't need to be Yoni steaming, even though you're using Yoni steaming for treatment. You don't need to be Yoni steaming like once every week. That's overdoing it. You can Yoni steam like if for treatment, for instance, some people recommend once every 2 weeks. If you're yoni steaming as a preventative measure or just for your self-care, you can yoni steam like once every 3 months. Yeah, you don't need to yoni steam every single day or every week or whatever. Once every 2 weeks for treatment is good. Once every month even, maybe. Yeah, so yes. Also, I wanted to mention, yoni steaming might not resonate with everybody. And if you're watching this video and you're like, I don't really think, I don't know, that is perfectly okay. If you do not feel cold to yoni steam, you do not feel it resonates, that is perfectly fine. And for those who do feel they would want to try this yoni steaming thing and incorporate into their self-care, please make sure, I cannot emphasize this enough, make sure you do your research, thoroughly do your research on yoni steaming, its benefits, because even the benefits I've mentioned here, it's not everything. I've missed out a number of things. So make sure you do your research on the benefits of yoni steaming. If there are any negatives that you're going to find, do your research. If you have any underlying conditions and you are wondering, like, can I yoni steam? Please do your research. Doing your research could include even speaking to your doctor about it. Although some of the doctors I've met, especially in this side of the world, are not really into this whole holistic alternative health kind of arrangement. So take your doctor's advice at your own discretion. Follow your body. It's your body. It's your yoni. You know yourself better than anybody else, or at least you should. So do your research, follow your intuition, and do what is best for you. Don't jump onto any trends or anything you hear on the internet because everybody's doing it. Make sure you do your research and make sure it is right for you. Yeah? Yes. Okay. Another thing, lastly, about when not to steam, I wanted to mention that make sure the herbs in your yoni steaming blend are organic. They've been grown organically. Do not use yoni steaming blends that have herbs that have been inorganically grown, that have been heavily sprayed with pesticides, because that is just going to have the counter effect on your yoni and your overall health and well-being. Because you do not want to use herbs that have been heavily sprayed with pesticides, because the pesticides are also going to be going up your yoni, and that's just going to cause unnecessary issues and complications and diseases and health issues. So make sure the herbs you're using are organic, were grown organically, and are from a reputable source. At least make sure they're from a reputable source, because you know that this reputable source does this and whatnot. So organic herbs, reputable source. Remember that. Alrighty, so certain herbs are for specific issues. So it's a good idea to always get a blend of yoni steaming herbs that is all encompassing and all round. So get a blend that has antibacterial herbs, antifungal herbs, toning herbs, nourishing herbs, moisturizing herbs that are all rounded, so you can get the full benefits of it. Unless you're looking to treat something specific, then you can do your research on what herbs you need to have in your yoni steaming blend to treat that specific thing. For instance, red raspberry leaf and red clover are really good at enhancing fertility. So if you're trying to enhance fertility, make sure you're looking for a blend that has herbs that actually do enhance fertility. If you have a dry yoni, you can look for herbs that have a yoni steaming blend that has motherwort, because motherwort is really good at that, and other herbs as well that help with a dry yoni. If you're trying to heal emotional trauma, look for a blend that cater to that. For instance, rosemary is a good herb for that. But otherwise, my recommendation would be to get a yoni steaming blend that is all round and that has all these nourishing herbs in one package, so you can get the full benefits of whatever it is, especially if you're using it as a self-care practice. Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into the yoni steaming now. Okay, so this is the yoni steaming setup I have. The yoga mat is there because I am going to be squatting over the pot, over my yoni steam. So it's there to kind of like pad my knees because I'm going to be kind of in child's pose. And yes, so the bowl, that's the bowl of the pot that is specifically for Yoni steaming. Yeah, so you need a steel bowl preferably, or a glass bowl. Plastic is not such a great idea, but if that's all you have, I guess you could use it. But I'm using that stainless steel bowl, and the Yoni steaming blend I will be using is this one. It's from Umoyo, and this blend has safflower, motherwort, rose, mugwort leaf, angelica, lavender, and sophora. So this is the Yoni steaming blend I will be using, and I'm really excited. So let's just get right into it. And that is our delicious Yoni steaming blend. You just kind of steep the herbs in the water for a little bit. We're not going to sit over like boiling steaming water because we're not trying to cook our coochie. We're not trying to fry it. We're trying to steam. It's going to be a comfortable steam. Yeah, so if the water is too hot, wait a little bit so that it kind of like cools down, and that also give the herbs time to steep in the water. Yeah, so that's what we're doing, and then we steam. Looks so beautiful. Okay, so I have a towel here. I'm going to be using a blanket as well because this towel is not big enough. So basically what I'm going to do is squat over my pot. Yes, or squat over it like in child's pose for those who do yoga. So we're squatting. You can see my legs. You see them? Yeah, so we're squatting over the pot. I'll wrap the towel in the front part and get the blanket to wrap the back part so that the steam is trapped. Yes, and if this is too uncomfortable for you, if child's pose is too uncomfortable for you, you can definitely sit on a seat. There's some Yoni steaming seats that you can purchase online and in some shops, I think. But I squat over my pot and just kind of lean into it like so, and yeah, I'll be in child's pose, and this is very relaxing for me. For some people this might really be not ideal for their knees, but for me this is perfect, and I just kind of sit here and relax for 20 minutes. Sometimes I will meditate as I am Yoni steaming, or listen to some soothing music and just have these 20 minutes to myself and just relax. It feels so good. It feels so good. Okay, so yeah. Okay, and we are done. We're just going to pour this into the earth here. Let's release everything. Good compost for the tree here. Yeah.